All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project, where we explore what it takes to unlock your full potential in every area of life. Welcome back. It's another Tuesday. It's a beautiful day to be alive. I hope you guys are starting off your week amazing. And today, what we're going to talk about is a little nutrition. Right now, I have conversations with folks every day about this, about how to optimize your health, how to feel better, how to lose weight, how to look a certain way, right? We all have our goals with our health and our fitness, and it's pretty evident in my life that people have conversations with me about this all the time. And overwhelmingly, I have a lot of people who are frustrated, right? What should I do for my macros? What time should I eat? What diet should I do? There's tons of questions, and rightfully so. It's not anyone's fault that they're having these questions, that they're feeling frustrated, and that maybe that they haven't reached the result that they're looking for yet, right? And that's a problem to me because as someone who has a fitness studio and also coaches people in their health and fitness, it is my goal to help you achieve the ultimate feeling, right? And myself too. I'd like to wake up every day and just feel blissful. Now, that's not perfect, right? I don't live a perfectly healthy life, but I'm working on it. And I'm here to inform you guys a little bit on just some basic nutrition to hopefully give you some tools that you can take from today and go use in your life and hopefully make some big impacts on the way you feel. But also know that there isn't just a pill or a thing that we can snap our fingers and just miraculously, everything is better. So if you're listening to this, you've most likely tried some type of diet, right? You've either read it in a book or you were on Instagram or someone at work was telling you about this thing that they did that maybe worked for them, right? They did carnivore, they did keto, they started intermittent fasting, they did a cleanse. We've all tried them. I've done them before just because I like to see what it does to my body so that I can better help understand and explain it to you guys, right? But the issue is there is no one diet for anyone. And a little bit later on, I'm going to explain why. But what happens with this is it leaves us frustrated, it leaves us fed up, it leaves us angry, tired, sick, sad, all these things that are not good feelings. It leaves us feeling that way, and we get stuck in the cycle of trial and error. And guys, I'm here to tell you that there is a way out, right? You don't have to feel stuck. You don't have to think, oh, well, it worked for this person at work. Why won't it work for me? Am I just not doing it right? Am I meant to feel this way? Am I broken? Right? You start asking yourself these questions, right? And that's not fair to you either because there is no one size fits all diet that just works for everyone. And the problem with this is certain people have certain metabolisms, body structures, genetics that when they do a set diet that has protocols and measures and things that need to be followed, when they do them, they might get results. But out of, let's say, 10,000 people, if a couple people got those results, they happen to get lucky. I'm sorry, it is what it is, right? Because everyone is so unique that because they followed it, it just so happened to work with their metabolism and the way that their body works, right? So the first thing that we have to understand is you are about as unique as your fingerprint, right? Like that's a one of a kind thing. So your body, your mind, your fingerprint, your metabolism, the way your body is structured is like that. So just how your face and your fingerprints are different than anyone on earth, so is your stomach, so is your metabolism, so is all of your functions inside of your body. So we can't simply treat them with a quote unquote diet or fad that we slap into place and we just start doing things and expect them to work on us. Not only are we different from everyone else, we are changing on a day-to-day basis. But for some general speaking situations, we do have a set structure of how we work. So when it comes to nutrition, we have to ask the question, what should we be eating, right? What's the right thing that works for our body that's going to make us feel good and it's going to make us lose weight and it's going to make us, have vibrant energy and health. So to take it back, now I'm not trying to give a history lesson here or anything, but I'm just feeding you guys the stuff that I'm learning and applying to myself so that you can maybe understand it a little bit better. If you look back at indigenous species all around the world before modern medicine, before technology, and you go, and there's been people who have done this, researchers, nutritionists, people in that field have gone to all lengths of the world and studied indigenous species and also tested the people that were like the bones of the people who have passed away. Now, not surprisingly, there are not really levels of any types of cancer or diseases or any malfunctions. They also have very vibrant skin. They have clear nasal passages, and they have uh, clean, straight teeth with wide mouths, right? There's no cavities. There's none of that stuff to be found. And this is before, like I said, all of our modern medicine and technology. Well, you might say, why is that happening? Right? It's because they were eating the foods that are programmed for their bodies. So you go up to the Eskimos who live up in cold climates. They eat predominantly fish, fatty fish, maybe some seaweed and things like that. But yet, if you look at them, perfectly healthy, perfectly vibrant skin, perfectly good facial structures, and not much going on with their health, right? Not too many bad things. You go down to, Africa or places near the equator. Maybe they're eating foods that are citrusy, citrus fruit, higher in sugars, but yet they weren't obese. They had great vibrant skin, same thing, all these same attributes. And that's a completely different diet. Well, if you took someone that was an Eskimo and you started feeding them pineapples, bananas, breads, carbs, rices, they'd probably get very, very sick because their body does not operate on those fuels. Down to the cellular level, their body needs those fattier foods, and it doesn't need the different types of foods. So therefore, when we got modernized and we started flying places and, hopping on boats, and now we're all intermingled in different races, and that's great. But what's happening is we're also eating the different foods, the modernized foods, also the processed foods. So if our body at a cellular level needs a certain type of food, but we're not giving it that, that's when we tend to see facial structures all messed up, jagged teeth, crammed teeth, messed up noses, and just people who are experiencing all of these things like obesity, chronic illness, fatigue. Tons of different things are going on because of the food. Now, if you bring it down into the body, we have what's called your autonomic nervous system. This is the system that operates your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, all of the things that you don't have to think about. It takes care of that, right? And this is what's controlling our body at a cellular level. So within that system, there's the parasympathetic and there's the sympathetic. These are the two systems that run our entire body, the systems that you don't even need to think about. Well, you might be dominant in one, the fight or flight, or you might be dominant in the other, the rest and digest. So if your body is in fight or flight, you might need something that's a slow burning or that's a fast burning food, things like carbs, rice, and vegetables. But if you're the opposite, you might need higher proteins, higher fats, things that are going to burn slow to balance out your autonomic nervous system. Then on top of that, there's your oxidative system. You might have heard of oxidative rate. This is just how fast your body turns food into fuel, to simplify things, right? You can either be fast or slow. So therefore, same deal. We want to be in balance. So if you burn fuel fast and you're a fast oxidizer, well, then you need to balance that out with slow burning food like protein and fats, a little less carbs. Where if you're a slow oxidizer, you need to balance that out with eating fast burning foods like the carbs, like the vegetables, and the fruits. So, not to go off on a tangent on science, I'm going to reel it back in here. But what I'm trying to say is, based on these people's structures, they were already at the place in the earth where it gave them the foods that worked for them. But now you bring it to today, we've traveled. My ancestors are from Ireland, Scotland, Italy, and who knows where, right? All over the place. But yet I'm eating whatever, bread, pastas, hot dogs, chicken. I'm eating everything because we have access to that. Modern technology and transportation, I can eat pineapples at any time of the year, but they might not be ripe and they might not be from this area, right? So you might say, well, what is that like? What does that have to do with me? Well, the issue and what we need to do is find out what type of metabolism you have. Now, there's tests you can do. There's questionnaires that you can do online. What I'm talking about is called metabolic typing. If you want to look it up, and you can actually do a test online. I'm getting my results back, but the things that you can do is just have a basic understanding of how food works and why it's doing that, right? So, at a very fundamental level, there's your macronutrients, which are your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. You need all three of these in each one of your meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. You should have a little component of each one of these in all of your meals and snacks. Now, when you eat food, you should feel energized. You should feel good. Food is truly fuel. So, if you're experiencing things like chronic fatigue, headaches, any type of imbalances, that is not normal, right? So we start with the lowest hanging fruit, which is our food. We eat it multiple times a day, every single day, and it clearly makes up who we are as a person. So if we can get that dialed in a little bit, we're going to make strides towards progress. Like I said, we're not just going to snap our fingers and all is going to be well, and we're going to be the healthiest, happiest person on the planet. But at least you understanding this will give you a better basis to make progress, right? So the first thing we can do is start to test things. And we're going to use our plate. Now, we don't have to measure, we don't have to weigh, we don't have to count calories, which is a beautiful thing. But if you had a meal and you had the plate in front of you, and half of it was protein, let's say a steak, and the other half was vegetables and a sweet potato, just for a basic meal, right? And then 1 to 2 hours later, you want to see how you feel. You need to start looking for three things, right? Your satiety levels. Is it nourishing you? And are you feeling like full and satisfied after it? Two is your energy levels, right? Do you have steady, good energy, or are you either super, super hyper or super, super low energy, like you could take a nap, right? You want to have sustained good energy. And then three is your mood. How do you feel? Are you irritable? Are you pissed? Or are you in a calm, collective mood? Those are the three markers you need to be looking for every time that you eat, right? No matter what. We start to get this intuitive feeling, but right now I need you to be aware of it, right? So eat your meal, and then 1 to 2 hours later, take your notes out, or your phone or whatever, just take a mental note of how you're feeling. It's like, hey, I had eggs and I had potatoes for breakfast. I felt like pretty good. It got me to lunch. Like I wasn't really hungry. I wasn't starving. I wasn't wanting a snack. I wasn't irritable. That's a good sign, right? And then you can start playing with the ratios of food on your plate. Now, let's say one night or one lunch, you go out and you get a big bowl of pasta, right? And that made you feel like you just needed to crash and you needed to take a nap afterwards. Well, that's a good sign that your body is a fast oxidizer, it would be called, and that you're burning through fuel so fast, and carbs are a fast burning fuel, that it's not sustaining in your body, and that's leading you to have low energy. So the next time, maybe you have some chicken in the pasta, or you have a side plate of protein and a little bit of pasta, right? You start playing with these ratios and you're able to craft out what works best for you. Now, in addition to the ratios, there's a whole nother side of this, which is what are the right foods, right? Obviously, we want to start with whole foods that are unprocessed, no added sugars, and no seed oils, right? We want to keep it to natural whole foods in general to start with. But then once you've gotten past that point, then we can start playing around with the ratios. So there's some good news here, and that is, like I said, we're not measuring things. You don't have to get out your scale, and you can simply take this meal at a time and day by day, right? Like you can keep a journal, you can keep a log, or you can keep a mental note. I would suggest writing it down. Write the time that you ate, what you ate, and then those three markers. What was your satiety level? What was your energy like? And what was your mood like? And then you can start to reflect on that and make adjustments accordingly based on the ratios of your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. So, like I said, start off the day. Maybe you had a big bowl of oatmeal and a banana in there with some peanut butter. That's all carbs and fat. Well, if that got you to not want snacks and you made it to lunch and you had good energy and you were focused at what you were doing, then that's a good sign that you're probably a slow oxidizer and you need the carbs and you need the slow burning foods like the vegetables and the rice and things like that. Whereas if you had a bowl, like for me, if I had a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast and that's it, I would probably be starving afterwards and within a very short amount of time, want a snack or another meal or be tired or experience all of those things. And it's pretty eye opening because when you start paying attention to this, you realize that it's been occurring so much, but you just pushed it to the side and thought it was just something normal. Like most people deal with some type of fatigue, right? There's not a lot of people who are just zipping through the day, feeling amazing, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? There's a lot of people who deal with fatigue. And if you would just pay attention to what you're putting on your plate and what you're eating and how it's making you feel that hour to 2 hours after your meal, you can make some small tweaks. So I just want to say that all that I went over here is very, very, very base level, right? I didn't go too deep on one specific thing. I didn't want to scare anyone or try to put too many words on here because this isn't a complex thing. It's actually quite simple when you get used to it, but you need to make it a daily practice of being intuitive with your eating and just focusing on those three markers, right? Satiety, your energy, and your mood. And if you can start tweaking each and every meal and each and every day to start being in those better categories, like feeling good, having good energy, being focused, no brain fog, you're going to notice what you're putting on your plate is having a huge impact on that. And the beauty of all this is when you start to really get it right and hit your stride for quite a while, other things, side effects of this, you might say, will be loss of weight, clearer skin, like you name it, right? Things start to go in your favor towards your health and your goals by simply just analyzing what you're putting on your plate and how it's making you feel. So I wish I could give you some calculation of you need this percentage of protein, this percentage of fat. I can't know that until you would do a test or you would do the questionnaire and you take some further steps into knowing exactly what your body type is. And I would suggest that, but just to give you a baseline and to start somewhere, this is what I want you guys to do today. So I hope you can take this and I hope it made sense, right? I hope you can take action on it and start to implement this into your day. And if it didn't make sense, and I wasn't coming across clear, please reach out to me so that maybe I can take some time and call you or whatever to better get this message through because there's a lot of people who are frustrated with how they feel and the lack of progress or anything like that. And it's not your fault that these diets or these fads or these things are not working. It's because no one is the same. Everyone is different. And once we get that, we can start making some big progress. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And until next time, go be great.